Well, greetings, City Church family and friends. Today, March the 2nd, yesterday, Pastor Roger began our brand new series entitled Receiving the Ministry of Jesus. We're going to look at Mark chapter 3 today. But what we must understand is when we read these stories about the power of Christ, the power of Jesus being released, miracles happening, healing happening, deliverance happening, whatever it may be, what we must understand, these stories are just a testimony of what Jesus Christ wants to do in our lives. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Now let's look at our story today, Mark chapter 3, verse 1. It talks about Jesus. He's entering the synagogue, and a man was there that had a withered hand. So they watched him closely. This is the religious leaders. If Jesus would heal on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. And he said to the man who had the withered hand, "Step forward." And then he said to them, "Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or evil, to save life or to kill it?" But they kept silent. And when Jesus looked around, he was grieved by the hardness of their heart. And he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he stretched out his hand, and his hand was completely made whole. Now, what you must understand, it goes on in the next verse, and it says that the religious leaders, they began to plot against Jesus. They were using the letter of the law and not the spirit of the law. They were trying to find something to accuse Jesus of, and they completely missed the miracle that was right in front of them. And what you must understand, Jesus came to fulfill the law and the prophets. His work, his ministry became the centerpiece of what God was doing upon the earth. And what did God do? God, in this moment, Jesus seen the man with a withered hand, and the man stepped forward as Jesus said to. He responded. And then Jesus said, "Reach forward your hand." And when he did, immediately the power of God touched him, and his hand that was withered up became completely whole, just like the other hand, the scripture said. And I don't know what may be withered up in your life, but what we must understand, this same Jesus that did the miracle this day is the same Jesus that is in every one of our lives. And no matter what may be withered up, and I was looking at the definition of the word withered today, something that's drawn back, something that there was once life in, or maybe there was never life in it, but the life had been drawn back and had subsided. That in that moment when Jesus spoke, "Stretch forth your hand," that which was withered became whole. I don't know what may be withered in your life, whether it's relationships, whether it's financial, whether it's in your physical body, whether it's in your soul, your mind, your will, your emotions. Maybe it's the need of freedom and deliverance from things that the enemy has tried to wither in your life. But let me just speak the word of the Lord to you right now, that the same Jesus that said, "Stretch forth your hand," to this man with a withered hand, they were healed. I believe with all my heart that Jesus is saying the same thing to you today. Stretch forth your hand by faith.